recording.
Thank you.
Recording in progress.
Grab my pen and we'll start. There we go. There it is. Okay, good evening. My name is Matt Rothy. I'm the Stoughton Municipal Judge. Cover Stoughton Municipal Courts, towns of Dunkirk, Rutland, and Pleasant Springs, city of Stoughton. We have a few people that are here. We're here for initial appearances. I'll go through it with everybody, but basically we're here to take a plea. Your three plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty. I'll review the fines and penalties and the elements of each of the citations, and we'll take people on a first come, first served basis. First case I have is Grace Schultz. Ms. Schultz, can you hear me okay?
It's *6 to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you. Ms. Schultz, let me pull up the file. It might be just a minute. Let me pull everything up.
All right.
Doing this via Zoom, so it's always a little okay. All right, here we go. Schultz. Okay. So I know you can only see me, or you can only hear me, but I've got an icon of just a phone and then your name as well. So I'm going to pull up just the citation. That way I've got it.
Okay.
So do we have your correct address on Old Stage Road in Brooklyn?
That's actually my mom's address, so that is not updated.
What is your address?
It is 9206 North Newville Road, Edgerton. That's 53534.
Okay, did you get that, Mary?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, Ms. Schultz, you have two citations. The first one is for displaying false registration of a plate. That carries a penalty of $187. Now, there's a forfeiture range on this. This bond is a suggested amount. What I can do is I can increase or decrease depending on the forfeiture range. Let me pull that up in my trusty statute book. Okay, the range, so 341 sorry. I've got a whole book. It takes me sometimes a little bit to flip through. Okay, the forfeiture range on this is $0 to $500. You're actually at $100 plus costs because the state mandates we add certain items to the forfeiture, including jail and assessment costs, local costs, bonds. So it's $187 plus costs. You're at the low end of the range. You understand that as well?
Right.
Okay. Now at 0 points issued your driver's license. The second citation you have is operating motor vehicle without insurance. That citation carries a penalty of $124. Forfeiture range on that is as follows. $344.62 is $0 to $500. So again, you're actually at $50 plus cost for that. Do you understand the elements of what operating motor vehicle without insurance is?
Yes.
Okay, and then the other citation was display false registration, the false vehicle registration plate. You understand the elements of that as well?
Yes.
Okay, so basically what that means is that you had somebody else there, the city is accusing you of some other offering some other's registration plate on somebody else's car and you put it on your own is what that means. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay, now with these two citations, I cannot amend these.
Fourth
Yes.
citation, Judge.
I'm sorry?
A total of 4 citations.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Mary. Okay, Ms. Schultz, yeah, I'm sorry, it stopped on the second one. Your third citation is failure to properly obtain title. That citation carries a penalty of $376, and that citation carries a penalty of $376. That is $250 plus costs, and the forfeiture range on that citation is $342.05. Failure to $0 to $200. So you're actually at the maximum. Actually, he wrote it for He wrote it, this officer wrote it for $376. The most I could find you on that is $313 based upon the bond book. Let me double check that. But that would be an incorrect citation amount. Yeah, $0 to $200 unless they, no, it's this year. So the forfeiture would come down on that. And then the force, do you understand what failure to properly obtain title is?
Yeah.
Okay, your fourth citation is non-registration of auto. That citation carries a penalty of 0 points and $98.80. That's $30 plus costs. The forfeiture range on this is $30 to $50. Do you understand all these citations?
Yes.
Okay, now I cannot amend or dismiss any of these. What I would suggest is that you enter a not guilty plea. We'll schedule this matter for a pretrial conference. You would meet with the city attorney to see if any of these citations could be either resolved before it gets short of a trial. Does that sound like something you would want to do?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go ahead and enter a not guilty plea. We'll send a notice to the address of yours. We'll schedule a pretrial conference. And normally what it's done via Zoom. So you get a certain time during a certain day just to call into the prosecutor's office. The prosecutor will have the police reports, and we'll see if you can resolve it. Now make sure that you appear on that day, because if you don't appear, the prosecutor will tell me that you didn't appear, and I'll find you guilty of all 4 citations.
Okay. Sounds good.
So pay attention to the mail, follow the notice, and then appear at the pretrial conference.
Alrighty. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That'll take care of it this evening. You can go ahead and hang up.
Okay. Have a good day.
Thank you. The next defendant we have is Brandon Coon.
Hello, Judge.
Good evening. Mr. Coon, let me pull up your police report if that's okay. What I do is add police report, I pull up the citation, that way I can get an address and just some basic information.
Absolutely. Take your time, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Coon, do I have your correct address at South Street Upper?
Yep.
All right, let's see, facing a few citations, let's see, 3 citations. The first one is for hit and run adjacent to property. That citation carries a penalty of $187 and 0 points issued your driver's license. The forfeiture range on this is as follows. It's $0 to $200. You're at $100 plus cost. You're kind of right in the middle of the forfeiture range. Do you understand what hit and run property adjacent to highway is?
I did not at first, but after recent research, I do now.
Okay. The second citation is inattentive driving. That citation carries a penalty of 4 points and $111.40. And that's $40 plus costs. Forfeiture range on this citation is $20 to $400. So you're not at the minimum, but you're on the low end of the scale. You understand that you're at the low end of the scale for the forfeiture range?
Yes.
Okay. And you understand what inattentive driving is?
Yes.
All right. Now your third citation is failure of operator to notify police of an accident. Now that citation carries a penalty of $313 and 6 demerit points issued your driver's license. Mr. Coon, how old are you?
I am 33.
Okay, so you don't have a probation license, correct?
Correct. I do not.
Okay, so you don't have to worry about the points totally, but that will be a total of 10 points just between these 2 citations. The forfeiture range on this one is 340. That's $200 to $500. So $313. You're actually at the minimum forfeiture for that
Okay.
citation amount. So these are 3 citations. They're rather large fines and a lot of points. Just like the last caller, my suggestion would be to go ahead and enter a not guilty plea, talk to the prosecutor and see if you can reach a resolution short of trial, because I can't dismiss or reduce any of these citations.
Okay. Then I would like to enter a not guilty plea.
Okay,
in that
that's
case,
what we'll
'cause
do
I
for you.
would
We'll enter a
like
not
to-
guilty plea. Again, we'll send out notice to that address. So make sure, pay attention to mail. You get a notice to appear at the pretrial conference. You'll call in and meet with the city prosecutor via Zoom or via phone call, something similar to this, and then we'll see if we can resolve it. Now, make sure that you appear at that pretrial conference, because if
Yep.
you don't, I'll default you and find you guilty of all 3 of those citations.
Absolutely.
You want to avoid that. So, okay.
Yeah, no, I need to save my driver's license.
Exactly. Any questions for me?
No, Your Honor.
All right, that will take care of it this evening, then you can go ahead and hang up.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mr. Coon. Next would be Gilbert Aponte.
I'm muted now,
Right.
so.
Right here, Mr. Honor.
Yes, hang on a second. Mr. Coon is still on the line. Let's wait for him to clear it. Okay, there, he cleared it. All right, Mr., did I pronounce that correctly, Aponte?
Aponte, Aponte?
Yes, yeah, Aponte, okay. All right, Mr. Aponte, let me go ahead and pull up your citation. That way I can get an address.
Sure.
All right, do I have your correct address on Highland Drive in Stoughton?
Correct.
All right, now you received what's called an operating while under the influence. That's also known as basically drunk driving or OWI. You received 2 citations, OWI and prohibited alcohol concentration. And is this the first time you've ever received a drunk driving ticket?
It is the first time.
Okay, so let me kind of go through the penalties. So operating while under the influence, do you understand what that is?
Yes.
Okay, it basically means you're operating a motor vehicle on the highways of the state or out in a premises held out for public use while under the influence of an intoxicant or basically under influence of an intoxicant. Now, the penalties of this are followed. The forfeiture range is $150 to $300. However, in addition to that and the court costs that are added, you also pay a $355 assessment fee. So the forfeiture range on this usually range between $700 and $1,000. You're about in the middle at $861. Okay. Now, it's 6 points is assessed against your driver's license, and in addition to that, you also, if you're found guilty, you also have to have an alcohol and drug assessment class. Now, there's a driver's license revocation period if you're found guilty of an OWI, and that's 6 to 9 months. Now, I base that 6 to 9 months on kind of a standard set of penalties. If you're below a 1.5, it's 6 months. If you're between a 1, and the legal rate in Wisconsin under first offense is 0.08. So if you're between a 0.08 and a 0.15, then it's a 6-month driver's license revocation. If you're a 1.5 to a 1.99, you're 7 months. And if you're above a 0.2, it's 8 months. If there's any bad driving, like causes an accident or dangerous behavior, I usually increase the penalty by 1 month. So far, so you understand so far?
Understand.
Okay. Now, in addition to that, if your blood alcohol content was a 1.5 or higher, I must also order an interlock ignition device be installed on all vehicles registered in your name for a period of 12 months. In addition, you will also have a restriction that you cannot drive. You have to have an interlock ignition device on all motor vehicles you drive within a period of 12 months. Now that starts when you get your first product. So in other words, if you get an occupational license or you get your license back, that's when it starts. You can't sit it out. You can't wait a year and say, oh, I'm going to avoid the IID. It's whenever when you get either an occupational or regular driver's license back. Do you understand that?
Understand.
Okay. Now, in addition, there's another citation called operating with a prohibited alcohol concentration. That contains the same forfeitures, or same penalties, $150 to $300, $700 to $1,000 forfeiture, 6 points, alcohol and drug assessment, 6 to 9 month revocation, and IID if you're above a 1.5. The difference is you can only have penalties on one or the other. You can be found guilty of both, but only one set. So in other words, the total amount of forfeiture you can have usually will be only $861. I can't double it for both citations. Is that clear?
Clear.
Okay, good. Now, one thing if you do have an IID, there's a $50 surcharge. So the total forfeiture would be $911 instead of $861. Okay, now do you understand what the elements are for operating a prohibited alcohol concentration?
Understand.
Okay, basically means that you're a 0.08 or higher. Same thing, you're driving on you're driving a motor vehicle on highways or premises held up for the public use with a prohibited alcohol concentration. Okay, you said you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, I've gone through the PAC citation. I've gone through the OWI citation. I've explained the penalties for both. Do you have any questions for me?
No questions, Mr. Honor.
Okay, now's the time I take your plea. Your three plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty. Now, a guilty plea means you're admitting your guilt. I'll find you guilty and impose the penalties. A no contest plea means you're not admitting guilt, but you want it to be over with tonight and you want to accept the penalties as I've described them. Either way, in both those cases, I would find you guilty. Now, a not guilty plea means that you wish to either contest the citation, find out more information about it, etc. And then if you enter a not guilty plea, I'd schedule the matter for a pretrial conference with the city attorney. Do you understand the three plea options I've given?
Understand.
Okay, we're ready to take a plea now. What is your plea?
I plead guilty.
Okay, you understand with a guilty plea, I must find you guilty?
Understand.
Okay, let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. Might take a few minutes. These are rather lengthy reports.
Take your time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Aponte, I have reviewed the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea. I'll accept your guilty plea and find you guilty. Anything you'd like to say before I decide on a sentence?
Nope.
Okay. Even though you were speeding at a high rate of speed, I'll find that there was no bad driving, and I'll make the findings that your blood alcohol content was an 09. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find that the forfeiture amount of $861 to be appropriate. I'm going to, you have to, there will be 6 points assessed against your license. You have to attend an alcohol and drug assessment. I'll make the finding that since your blood alcohol content was an 09, you'll be revoked for the minimum 6 months. And there will not be any interlock ignition device be installed either on your vehicles or required as well. So how much time do you need to pay for the $861?
I would say, can I do a 200 now or either whenever I gotta go to the court? And then I would say 3 months.
Okay, yeah, I would agree. So I'll give you 90 days to pay. It's a high forfeiture. If you have trouble paying, Mr. Ponte, it's say 3 months from now, send a letter to the court just requesting more time. More than likely approve it without a hearing, or at least inform the prosecutor. So I'll give you 90 days. I'd rather see you pay it rather than have to suspend your driver's license further or any of the penalties or send it through state collections. So, okay, 90 days to pay. You'll get an assessment. You'll get an assessment letter in the mail along with some other correspondence. Make sure that you call that number on the assessment form within 72 hours. You schedule the assessment, and you have to enter what's called the driver safety plan to get your license back.
That will get to my email, right?
Mary, can
Oh,
you, we usually mail notices. Do you have the defendant's email address? She's nodding her yes. So yeah, we can go ahead and email that to you as well.
because this letter for the video, it took like, it got here like probably like 5 days ago.
Okay.
So I don't know how long it's gonna take that mail to get here.
Go ahead, Mary, you're muted. My clerk's gonna tell us in just a minute.
I just need to verify I have your email address. 1 second.
This is an open court, though. Is it okay if we speak your email? It gets recorded and it's on public TV.
That's not a problem.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah, I have it here, so don't worry about it.
Okay, we'll email that to you. Make sure that you sign up for it, and then that way you can complete your assessment right away. And we'll send you the information on the occupational license as well. So just you understand that?
Thanks, I understand.
Now, Mr. Aponte, what did you learn?
Say it again?
What did you learn from this?
No drinking and no drive.
Yeah. The next time will be criminal, so just make sure that
Yes,
don't
it's a
put
high
yourself in that
risk.
position.
It's a high risk, actually.
Okay. Now we'll good enough. All right, you've got the court information. If anything else comes up, but we'll send all that information. There'll be a number to call if you have any questions.
All right, thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Mr. Aponte.
Have a good one.
You too, you can go ahead and hang up. All right, next one will be Sarah Walker. All right, Miss Walker. Hi, how are you? Let me pull up my your citations. That way I have your address and some information on the citation.
Okay.
Ms. Walker, do I have your correct address on Jackson Street in Stoughton?
Yes.
All right. You've received a citation for assault on person or animal. That citation carries a penalty of $124. That's $50 plus cost. The forfeiture range on this is between $30 and $1,000. So you're not at the minimum amount of forfeiture, but you're on the low end of the citation on the range. You understand that?
Yes.
Do you understand what assault on person or animal is?
I understand it.
Okay. All right. Do you have any questions for the court?
I was just wanting to get the citation lowered if I could. The person that my dog nipped at.
Hang on. Before you do that, what I could do is that the lowest amount of the forfeiture I could reduce it to would be $30. I can't hear the facts of the case until you've entered a plea. So
okay.
minimum forfeiture on this would be $98.80. So that would be the most.
So it's not really worth it to go to court either. I mean,
Well, you could, if you wanted, you could talk to the prosecutor to see if you could either reduce it further or have it amended to something else. Oh, I don't have the power to do that.
Right.
If you want to talk to the prosecutor and have it amended further, you can always enter a not guilty plea. If you enter no contest or guilty plea, I'll find you guilty and then impose either a forfeiture between $88.80 or $124.
Okay. I'm just gonna plead no contest then.
Okay, and no contest means that you want to get over it tonight. You're not admitting guilt, which is wise because if you cause damages, the person you sued, if you're found guilty or if you entered a guilty plea, could use that guilty plea against you then. So,
right.
Okay.
Right.
All right. I'll find that you entered a no contest plea. You understand that with no contest plea, I'll likely find you guilty.
Correct.
All right. Let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea.
Okay.
Okay, I have read the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea, accept your no contest plea and find you guilty. Now, what is it you wanted to tell me?
Oh, I just wanted the, it doesn't matter now.
Okay,
it doesn't
but
matter.
you wish for a lower forfeiture?
Yeah, just because of the situation that had happened. The woman walked right in front of my daughter. My dog is blind and old, and I've lived here for the last 3 years without an incident. She was being extremely dramatic, honestly. I have a video of the incident. My daughter was standing in the doorway with my dogs, and the woman just crossed right in front of my daughter, close enough for my dog to nip the back of her leg. The woman looked behind and said, "Oh, your dog almost bit me," and then walked out the door. My daughter waited there because she was like, well, does she need something? So my daughter waited there for her to come back. She never came back. Next thing I know, the police are calling me, talking about how I have a dog that is biting people. And it was really peculiar. She went to the hospital and got rabies shots. I mean,
I saw on the report where your dog was current on rabies vaccination, so that was good.
Yeah, I mean, and then, it seemed like, and then she insisted that I get a ticket. Well, first of all, I wasn't even the one walking the dog. She insisted it was me walking the dog. I'd never seen the woman before in my life. And after she insisted to the police that I was the one walking the dog, the police looked at the video and said, no, that's her 11-year-old daughter. She wasn't paying attention. I mean, who walks right, like, you don't walk. I mean, she wasn't even like 3 feet from my daughter. She was right in front of my dogs.
Okay.
And
Well,
I mean, who does that? Oh,
well, given all those facts and circumstances, I do think a reduction in the forfeiture is appropriate. So I'll reduce it to the minimum of $98.80. Ms. Walker, do you need time to pay that?
can I at least wait until the beginning of next month?
I'll give you 30 days. Will that be enough?
Yeah, that's plenty of time.
Okay, we'll give you 30 days. We'll send out notice to that address. Just make sure that you make payment, because otherwise I'd have to send you the collections, and I'd rather not do that.
I would rather that not happen as well.
Okay, we're in agreement then. So if anything there's a number to call if you have any questions or need additional time, but otherwise they'll take care of it for this evening.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Ms. Walker.
Yeah, bye-bye. How do you hang up?
You just press the button and then yeah, there you go. But I think she's still there. Ms. Dodge is next, but we'll see when we'll turn to you. Okay, good. Ms. Walker is now disconnected. Ms. Dodge, you're still on mute.
*6.
Looks like she's on a computer, so. Okay, she turned off the video.
There we go.
All
Can
right.
you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Thank you for
Okay.
appearing tonight, Ms. Dodge. Let me pull up your citation. That way I've got an address for you.
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Dodge, do I have your correct address on Crestwood Circle in McFarland?
Yes.
All right. You've been cited for speeding on a city highway 11 to 15 over limit. That citation carries a penalty of 4 points and a forfeiture of $98.80. Now, the forfeiture, that's $30 plus cost. You're at the minimum amount of the forfeiture. Do you understand what speeding on a city highway is?
Yes.
All right. You understand you were cited for 11 to 15 over?
Yes.
Okay, now that's 4 points. What I do is I give a 10-mile-an-hour leeway. So if you're going 11 to 15, I would say that you're going 1 to 10 over. That'd be 3 points instead of 4. Now, the prosecutor and I have reached out an agreement where I reduce it to that amount, because that's usually the same offer they would make in a pretrial conference. It saves everybody a little bit of time. So, so if you were under a no contest or guilty plea, it would be to 3 points instead of 4. Understand
Okay.
that? Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions for me?
No.
All right, to the amended citation of 1 to 10 over, what is your plea?
I guess no contest.
Okay, with no contest plea, that means you're
Or I
not
could say not
contesting it.
guilty. Sorry.
No,
Okay,
no,
not
no
guilty.
contest.
Or, I mean, guilty.
Well, wait, we
Guilty.
can do a no contest. No contest means that
Okay.
you're not contesting it, but we can end it today. So,
Okay.
do you understand with no contest plea, I must find you guilty?
Sure.
All right.
Okay.
Let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. Okay, I have read the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea, accept your no contest plea, and find you guilty of speeding 1 to 10 over for the minimum 3 points. 3 points are the minimum for most moving violations. Then,
Okay.
Ms. Dodge, how much time do you need to pay?
I can do I send a check in? I can do that right away.
I'll give you 30 days to pay. We'll send you the notice. You can just mail in payment to that with that address on the notice, or on your citation as well.
Okay. Okay.
Anything else you want to tell me?
No,
Okay.
no.
All right,
Thank
that'll
you.
take care of it this evening. And thank you, Ms. Dodge.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, next would be Pedro Cruz. Mr. Cruz, if you want to go ahead and unmute. Actually, let's make sure that Miss Dodge turns off first.
Yeah,
I am.
Miss Dodge is trying.
Okay,
I can remove her.
okay.
Whoops, sorry.
Okay, she's removed. Mr. Cruz, thank you for appearing tonight. Looks like you're in the middle of dinner. This is kind of amusing.
No, it's okay.
So what I will do is, you entered a no contest plea, but you have a plea sheet. You want me to review that? You made a submission to the court. You want me to go and take a look at that?
Yeah, well,
Hang on. Let me
go ahead,
let me
yeah.
let me pull up your citation first. So that'd be best. So it's Pedro Juan Cruz Vargas.
Correct.
All right. Let me call you Mr. Cruz. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Cruz, I have your correct address on Kenilworth in Stoughton.
Yes.
All right. You received a citation for open intox. That citation carries a penalty of $124. You know what open intox is?
Yes.
Okay. 0 points, 124. Minimum forfeiture for this is $30 plus cost, which would be $98.80. You're at $50 plus cost for $124. And basically that's you're at the low end of the scale. Any questions for me?
Well, it's
You can't really
But she
tell me,
is
hang on, before we get started, you can't really tell me the facts of the case. The reason why you tell me the facts is that the prosecutor's not here. So if the prosecutor's not here, it's called an ex parte contact. I become tainted if I hear it from only one side. So if you want to like either a dismissal or a reduction of this, what I would suggest is you enter a not guilty plea. Talk to the prosecutor and see if you and the prosecutor resolve it before we get to trial.
because that's what I would like to do then.
Yeah, that's what we can do. I don't really have, because if the prosecutor's not there, I can't broker a settlement or I can't really do anything other than tell you what it is. So why don't we do that? We'll go ahead and enter a not guilty plea. You'll get a notice in the mail telling you to appear. You can appear by phone. The pretrial is being conducted by phone right now. Tell the prosecutor your side of the story and then see if you can resolve it beforehand. But if you don't appear, make sure that you appear, because if you don't, I have to find you in guilt, the default, and I'll find you guilty and I'll find you the $124 then. So make sure that you appear.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions for me?
Not at all.
All right. That'll take care of it for this evening. Thank you for appearing. You can go ahead and hang up.
All right. Good night.
Good night. Now, Mary, some judges would be upset that he was kind of drinking and smoking while the court period was going on. But I'm like, you know what? It's Zoom. As long as people appear and I'm informed of their rights, I'm okay with that. So going to be a little less formal, unfortunately. So,
Really?
all right, are we ready to go through the rest?
Yeah.
All right. First one would be Tyson Anderson, default judgment on both citations, 3 citations. Dorian Bizzle.
He entered a not guilty plea at the last minute.
We'll go ahead and enter not guilty plea for him. Dorian Bizzle on both of them, okay? Laurentino Bravo, default judgment on both citations. Renee Brecken, a no contest plea, accept a no contest plea. Maybe have a restitution someday I'll leave that open if the person wants to follow through, the victim. Michael Cady is a default judgment on both citations. Josephat Cardell Torres is a plea sheet. So let me take a look at that.
He reinstated, and he's including, a copy of the payment.
Okay. Oop, I'm sorry, I clicked on the wrong one.
Oh.
Okay, since this was a reinstatement and they included that, I'm gonna go ahead and amend this to what's called no driver's license on person, contrary to 343.18 subsection 1. 0 points, but the same forfeiture as the face mounted citation.
Okay. All right.
All right, next would be Luis Cardenas Sanchez, default judgment. Juan Manuel Colon Hernandez is a default judgment on all three
He's
citations. What was he at? Let me find it.
0.14.
Okay, minimum 6 months, no IID. Let me make sure of that. I want to make sure there was no X in anything. Again, I think I checked on the wrong one.
I think there was an accident, if I remember correctly.
No, there's no accident.
No.
Minimum 6 months.
Almost. an
Almost.
accident. That's right.
All right, so done with the first page. Second page, Brandon Coon, we already appeared. Okay, Michelle Crew, accept the no contest plea and find her guilty. And then Mr. Cruz appeared. Amy Dodge, she also appeared. Thomas Dryerson, a default judgment. Gabrielle Eath is a bond forfeiture. Excuse me. Marilee Falligand is a bond forfeiture. John Philberg is a bond forfeiture. Kyle Freeman is a default judgment. Ernesta Garbaz is a bond forfeiture. Todd Goldade, upon the motion of the city, the citation is dismissed. Yancy Gonzalez is a default judgment. Excuse me, I've got a dry throat on all three citations. Eric William Graff is a default judgment. Garrett Gunderson is a default judgment on all three citations. Ethan Hammer is a bond forfeiture. James Hammis is a default judgment on all three citations. Speaking of that, if we can talk if we're meeting with the city on a few of these. All right. Patrick Hansen is a bond forfeiture. James Herride is a bond forfeiture. Aaron Henderson is a default judgment. Janua Hernandez Diaz is a default judgment. Henadis. Daniel Hoffman is a default judgment. Amanda Hunt is a default judgment. Bradley Jansen is a default judgment. Ethan Claudus is a default judgment on both citations. Simon Lank is a default judgment. Maria Madole is a bond forfeiture. Sarah McCarty is a bond forfeiture. Brittany Miller is a default judgment. Kiko Miramontes is a default judgment. Constance Morrow is a default judgment. Todd Nelson is a default judgment. Michael Navala is a bond forfeiture. Matthew Nickel is a default judgment on both citations. Maximus Nilis is a bond forfeiture. Luis Eduardo Ortega Martinez is a default judgment on all three citations. Mildred Pritchard is a default judgment. Ashley Ramstack is a default judgment. Mark Allen Remus is a default judgment. Aubrey Marie Ricker, no contest plea. No plea sheets on those?
She sent a plea sheet, but no explanation.
Okay.
She just was entering her plea.
We'll go ahead and accept a no contest plea and find her guilty on all four citations. Thomas
Rogers has been rescheduled to next month.
Perfect, reschedule that one. Catherine Ruff is a default judgment. Diane Salzer is a bond forfeiture.
Catherine Ruff actually entered a no contest pleas, but there was no additional information.
Okay, accept the no contest plea and find her guilty. I could see Grace Schultz appeared. I didn't make any notations on any of these, so deviated from my normal procedure a little bit. Cortez Lamar Scott is a default judgment. Alex Sess is a default judgment. Jacob Sparks is a default judgment. Suzanne Starzinski is a default judgment on both citations. Wade Allen Swenson Voss is a default judgment. Timothy Trosian is a default judgment on both citations. Blake William Wake. Let me take a look at this. Yes.
He sent along information and I actually spoke with him. He had some type of a apparatus on his car replaced and he thinks that's the reason. It has to do with his speedometer. So I think you may want to have him enter a not guilty plea.
Correct. Let's
Okay.
just do a not guilty.
Okay.
And remind me if he ends up being a default, I will still give him a 10 mile an hour leeway.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it sounds like he's angling for a defective speedometer instead. We'll
Right.
see. Okay. Well, not guilty plea for that one. Sarah Walker appeared. Daniel Winters is a default judgment on both citations. Is that it?
That's it.
I should minimize the screen while I'm looking at the police report,
Oh.
so just so I can read them better. Okay, I think that's it. I guess I'm glad everybody keep up the good work, and we'll continue. I'll see you after Thanksgiving.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Mary.
Bye-bye.
Bye.